All right. So, we always talk about being prepared, right? And you all have sent in some info about this Army Disaster Personnel Accountability and Assessment System.
ADPA.
ADPAAS. Yeah, that seems pretty important, especially, with how unpredictable things can be these days. So let's really take a deep dive into what this is all about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you think about it, disasters, they don't really announce themselves, do they?
Mm.
So being ready is key. And this ADPA's thing, it's really the Army's way of making sure they can account for everyone,
Everyone.
Yeah, like everyone, service members, obviously, but also their families, civilian employees, contractors working for the Army overseas. I mean, the brochure we've got here, it makes it clear this system covers a really wide range of folks.
So this is something that pretty much anyone connected to the Army should be aware of then, huh?
Absolutely. And what's really important is what ADPAAS lets you actually do. Like in a crisis, you can use it to update your status.
Mm-hmm.
Let the Army know if you're safe or if you need help.
Okay, so that's for you, but I'm guessing it's not just about the individual, right?
You can also update information for your family members, so that's huge. And there's this thing called a needs assessment survey, which seems like the way to go if you need to get specific help.
Right. So it's like a two-way communication then. You're telling the Army where you are, what you need, and they can use that information to respond effectively.
Exactly. And, the brochure actually lays it out pretty clearly. It says, ADPAAS provides a tool to report your status, current location, update, emergency contact information, and request assistance.
Okay, so it's all about giving and getting the right information during an emergency.
Exactly. And it also says ADPAAS helps Army leadership account for personnel and to make decisions that supports you and your family. So it's really about both sides, the individual getting support and the Army having a clear picture of what's happening.
So let's get practical here. When you need to use ADPAAS, where do you actually go?
Okay, so the main way to access it is through the website. It's https://adps.army.mil. That's where all the tools for updating your info are.
Website makes sense, but let's be real. What if you're in a situation where the internet is down, during a disaster? That can happen.
Yeah, that's a really good point, man. Disasters can disrupt everything, right? But the system is designed with backups, so you can actually contact your command officer representative directly.
Going old school.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can try to connect with local authorities or any relief organizations that are operating in the area. And there's also a dedicated ADPAAS information line. The number is 1-800-833-6622, option 7.
Okay, so even without internet, you're not completely cut off.
No. And there's even an email address, too. It's paras@us.navy.mil.le. And, of course, you've always got Military One source. It's 1-800-342-9647. So there are definitely options.
All right, so let's say you do have internet access. You go to the website. What are the first things you need to do to update your status?
It's pretty straightforward. You just go to the website and log in. You'll need your military ID card. That's your PIVCAT card. Or if you've set one up, you can use your username and password, and then you'll see options to choose your current status.
Okay, got it. And what about that needs assessment survey we talked about earlier? What should you expect after you fill that out?
So once you submit it, you'll see a confirmation on the screen. It's a good idea to print that out just for your records. And the important thing is that completing the survey triggers a response from a case manager. They'll get in touch with you to follow up on whatever needs you reported.
So it's not just filling out a form and hoping for the best. Someone will actually reach out to you based on what you said.
Exactly. And, the brochure really emphasizes the importance of keeping your information up to date. There's a tab called My Info. You can do that.
Okay, so My Info is where you want to go to make sure the Army has your latest contact details and any safe haven location you might be at. Right?
Yes, exactly. Being proactive about updating that info is super important because it means the Army has the most accurate information when they need it most in a time-sensitive situation.
Now, there's a message that some users might see. It says, you are not affected by a disaster or required to complete a needs assessment survey. You may log out. What does that actually mean?
So that message, it basically means that based on what the system knows, your location isn't currently affected by a disaster that requires everyone to check in or complete a survey. The system, it activates based on specific events and locations. Yeah. So if you're not in an affected area, you might see that message.
So it's kind of like an all clear signal for you personally at that moment?
Yeah, you can see it that way.
Okay, so just to sum up what we've learned, ADPA is this central system that anyone affiliated with the Army can use during an emergency to let people know they're okay, request help and update their information. And it's also a way for the Army to keep track of everyone and provide support where it's needed.
Exactly. And, we've talked about who can use it, what it can do, and how to access it, even if you don't have internet. So hopefully everyone listening feels a bit more confident about how ADPAS works.
Yeah. It sounds like knowing about this system can make a real difference in a tough situation. So definitely worth taking the time to understand it.
I agree. Being prepared and informed can really make a difference. And ADPAS is a great tool to have in your back pocket.